Hello. All right, so this is the second part on character. This will be very brief, just a couple minutes. So development in general, um, I don't necessarily want to summarize, but I just want to sort of leave you with a point. Um, Literature is the art of life. Okay. Fiction is telling something truthful um, through a made-up story. Um, you all have experienced things, you all know how great, but also how horrible, how tragic, how ambivalent, how gray life can be. So your goal should be to try to create a story that is um, emotionally real. It could be sci-fi, it could be a fantasy story, it could be so sarcastic and absurd and unbelievable, but you're still trying to tell a story that has real, truthful human experiences in it. Um, so that being said, when you're developing characters, think of how characters conflict with each other, how people conflict with each other. Think of how events can change your opinions on things. Think of people that you really know. Try to create characters that feel like real people in situations that may be entirely fantastic, but that their reactions, their conflict is coming from a very real human emotional place. I want to talk a little bit about characters as objects. This is something that fascinates me, something that I've actually done quite a bit of research on. I'm actually presenting something I've worked on, some research I've worked on for, God, probably like 2 years now, at the Pennsylvania Writers Conference in August of this summer. After I get some feedback on that, I'm going to try to publish this. But this idea of characters as objects is something that I think is very, very important. Fiction writing is all about being concise, telling your story in as few words as possible. Let's put it that way. Even if you're a maximalist, you're still trying to tell this story in the most efficient way possible. That being said, we need to think of characters as their functions, not necessarily as real people. Some characters are round, they're our main characters, and they should be round, they should feel like real people. But then often we have characters who come into the story to serve a specific function. And this specific function may be this character's function is to die, to influence our round characters, our main characters, to grow or change in some way. So when you begin to think of characters as objects with specific functions, that helps you figure out how much time you should put into them. If you have a character whose only purpose is to die, to move the narrative forward, then you have to ask yourself, do we really need to care about this character? If so, then yes, they should be developed. We should feel sad when they die. But if they die and it doesn't necessarily, maybe their death becomes symbolic of something, you don't need to spend your time developing them, creating them as real people, because it's not important to the efficiency of the story. Trying to think of a good example. There are some stories that I have students read in other classes that are great examples of this. Trying to think of anything we read so far this semester that is a good example of this. I mean, really, the closest example we have would be The Old Man in Midnight in Dostoevsky by DeLillo, where we don't need to know who he is or what his story is. That's unimportant. What's important is the meaning that Robbie and I forget the other guy's name, that they put on him. So if we were to be given, this isn't the best example, but if the old man had been developed more, it would sort of be pointless. It would be unnecessary because it doesn't matter. Okay. If we have any questions about this, we can talk about it more during the Zoom session. So the last thing you need to think about is how characters have certain functions, certain things they need to do, this is all very cyclical, this relationship. So the functions, how you approach developing them, how you view them as objects or not, and then if they're round or flat, these four things are all interconnected. They are sort of like this Venn diagram of specific conventions and ideas, but they overlap in many ways. And then lastly, this is just an optional exercise. This is in the Canvas page. I sort of changed this part up here a little bit, but basically what this character exercise is, it's a way that you're going to pick three of these characters. One is going to be round, one's going to be flat, and one's going to be used as an object in a specific way. These are not necessarily exclusive, okay? One's going to be round, one's going to be flat. The third character could just be there. He could be another round character, he could be another flat character. He may be the character that you use as an object. The main character, the round character, may be used as an object. Probably not, but you get the idea. And you write a 200-word maximum vignette. 200 words is about 3/4 of a page, double-spaced. But it just gives you some practice in figuring out how to conceptualize and develop characters. This is optional. If you want to do this to get some practice, go for it, and you can send it to me and I'll give you feedback. If you don't want to, that's fine.